In today's video, I'm going to show you a nice little trick called A2B. A2B is basically based on the classic Magician's Force. It's not the Magician's Force, so don't get too excited. But if you struggle to do the Magician's Force and you can't get your head around it and, you know, get that timing right and all sorts, then A2B is a nice little alternative way of performing the Magician's Force. And it's a great way to get more people interacting, and, you know, you can get a lot of mileage in it. So this trick is actually going to be involving a cull technique today. Simple cull spread technique. I'm going to go through and break it down for you. Hopefully you're going to enjoy this. Hopefully you get some ideas and you can expand on this this trick and routine. So, you know, please enjoy. If you like the video, guys, help us out by clicking on that thumbs up. You spread through the deck. Have one person say stop at any point. So let's go for around about here, the ace of diamonds. Okay, ace of diamonds. Keep it where it is. Right. All you're going to do is just close in that deck. Okay, just close it in. Square up the cards nice and neat. Now I'd usually get a second person to do this, but you can still use the first person that you've chosen anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Start spreading through the cards again, and as you spread through the cards again, all you're going to do is say stop. So you've said stop, turn it over, and it's the ace of diamonds. So with A2B, I'm basically doing a cull. If you don't know what a cull is where you control one card by culling the deck. So let's take the jack of clubs, for example. Pop it into the deck, right? Now, if I wanted to control that card in this position, but don't forget you're going to be down facing. So in this position here, all I'm going to do is pull that card across, and I'm going to push all the other cards on top of that card. Therefore, I've culled the card to the bottom of the deck. So when it's face down, it's there. Let's take the jack again, and let's show you again. So if the jack's there, so yeah, we've got the jack. Flip the jack down. So as I close the deck in, I'm basically pushing the jack across to my fingers. My fingers are going to steal the jack, pulls it in, and you're going to notice this little window or gap opens up here like a wedge. With that wedge there, you can now, using your left hand, push all those other cards in, and I can push all the cards into that wedge, which is forcing that jack to go to the bottom of the deck. So let's do it face up for you, and we'll leave the jack jogging out a bit for you. So you've shown the face, you've shown the back, okay, but we're going to keep it face up for this example. So what my right hand does is it comes underneath the jack, it clips the jack with those fingers, okay, usually the middle and ring finger, with the thumb on top, controls the top of the rest of the cards. The jack with the fingers gets pulled across to the right, therefore it creates this nice little wedge here of a gap. There we can now push the remaining cards in, forcing that jack to go all the way to the bottom, and that is a basic standard cull. Okay, so that's the very first part of the trick. So when I say okay, stop at a card, you stop at the 4. As you close it in, you've stealed the 4 and it's already there. So let me show you from this point, guys. So you're here, so we've gone for the 2 of spades. So as I flip that 2 of spades over, I'm pushing the 2 of spades across, stealing it, and then pushing the rest of the cards in, and it's now forced to the bottom. So that's part 1. Okay, so now part 2 with the other person, or you can, yes, do it with the same person, it doesn't really matter. So as I spread the top cards here, I'm going to steal that bottom card. So it's almost like a bottom deal, but it's a cull. So I'm now stealing that card back to the right hand, and I'm just going to keep pushing those cards using the cull technique all the way in until that person says stop. As soon as they say stop, don't be so eager to push that card back. Keep it there. Say, are you happy with that? Do you need to use a few more cards? So as they say yeah, so you push in a few more cards, which is pushing on top of that card, stop. Say, okay, I think you've got it this time, okay? So when you're in this position now, I'm just going to push that card across, right? So it looks sloppy, it looks messy, and you want that because it hides the fact that you're doing something sneaky underneath the deck. So while you're here, you're going to strip off the remaining cards with your left hand, keep and hold of the pack in the right hand with that force card, which is at the bottom, and there. So that looks like one of the cards that was pushed across. And you say, we're going to use this one, or you don't have to say that actually, you can just say, okay, so you stop there, let's see if you both pick the same card, and there we go. Yes, I'd say I'm using a lot more technique because I'm having to cull it from one side to the other, so this is why it's called from A to B, because you're going from A to B and back again. It gives the impression of you doing a Magician's Force, so until you've learnt the Magician's Force, then great. But this is a nice little way of doing it, and it also helps you. So if you want to learn cull techniques and use it for other routines and stuff, then you know this is a great start and practice trick to learn to use and take it forward. So like you say, spread through the deck as we go across there, cull it, pushes it in, and it's there. So even if you wanted to, you could actually just spread the deck, flip that King of Spades over, flip it back, steal a card, and if you've got a good enough gap and you're in down position like this so the spectators don't see the bottom and don't see the back, you can just close it in and that king's automatically at the bottom. So have a play with it, take your time, test it, see what works for you. So let's perform A to B from this angle so you can see how a magician would see this trick being performed. Spread the cards. As you spread through the cards, have a spectator say stop. Get them to choose a good selection of cards, never just say stop and they go for the top one. Always spread out the cards first and then say pick a card. Okay, so as you spread through the cards, have the spectator say stop and say the stop about here. Turn over that card and it's the Queen of Clubs. Turn the Queen back over, do the cull technique, close it in. So if you didn't see it, the Queen is now at the bottom. So let's bring that Queen back. So say put the Queen in the middle, spread the cards. So how to perform the cull. The cull is pretty straightforward in this technique. All you do is when you turn the Queen back over, I'm going to push the Queen off a little bit. I'm going to take these top cards in my right hand and bring them across to the Queen. Now you'll see I've left the Queen sticking out so you can see where she is. Actually, let's do it face up. So take the Queen, push it across, push the other cards across on top of the Queen. The fingers under the right hand are going to pull back that Queen. So she's now pulled back. Don't worry if she flashes or borders a little bit, it's not the end of the world, because if you're doing this in motion, people aren't going to be able to focus, and then you're forcing that Queen to go to the bottom of the deck. So in real time, spread the deck. Now hold the deck gently, don't be too rough with it. If you're rough with it, you won't be able to control the deck or select the card. Be gentle, be light and delicate. So as you're spreading through it, you can see I'm gliding those cards across. So even if you are a little bit warm and sticky because of the heat in the venue, then you will be able to still control the cards nicely. So they've said stop, turn over the card, 10 of diamonds. Turn the 10 back over. As you close in, push the 10 across, steal it, as you can see there. Leave a gap, or a wedge I call it. Push the remaining cards in, and from this angle forwards, the spectators can't see behind here, so they have no idea that you've controlled that card to the bottom. So don't worry about it. And it's also a visual aid for you to know that you've controlled the card to the bottom. So don't panic. Now, square up the cards, get a second person or the same person if you want to involved. Say, let's see if you can do that again, or let's see if you can find this person's card. So as you spread through the cards here, get a good few little cards across, reach underneath, steal that as if you're doing a bottom deal almost. So you've reculled it back to the right. Don't worry if it's poking out a little bit because the rest of these cards is masking it. Push the rest of the cards on top, get them to say stop. As soon as they say stop, push that card, and because you're doing hand movement going, oh, you wanna stop here, they won't notice you pushing that card back. So then you reveal it and it's a 10 of diamonds. So let's show you that in real time. Turn it over, ace of diamonds, take the ace of diamonds, cull it to the bottom. So now that ace of diamonds is on the bottom. Spread through the deck. I've stole the ace of diamonds so you can see it where my little finger is poking out. Get them to say stop. You want to stop there? Are you sure? So did you see I've just handled that ace of diamonds here where I want it? They don't know what I'm doing, so don't worry about it. As long as you know what you're doing, then you're going to do good. Turn over that top card, ace of diamonds, that's A2B. Hopefully you like that, guys. Any questions, leave a comment in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So guys, that's been A2B. Hopefully you've liked that, because it is a little variation of doing a magician's force without doing a magician's force. So it's a nice little workaround, as I've been saying. I've had a great time doing this trick over the years. It's always done me well. So if you're working in the wedding industry and you're like doing wedding fairs and stuff and you're wondering why you're not getting booked for them, take a note of this, right? Do tricks that involve the bride and groom, okay? Don't just do tricks that look amazing or wow and all this sort of stuff, because people forget them. It's like, that's it, it's gone. They forget about you and they'll go, oh, I remember a magician did this and that was great. And then they'll go speak to another magician and they'll say, do you remember that trick that you did for us? Because they think you're that person. Then guess what? That person just stole your gig, your booking, I should say. So do tricks that involve the bride and groom. Make that bride and groom feel special. If you do that, then usually you will get them saying, right, I want to book you now for my wedding and it's next year or something. Make them feel special. Build that connection with your audience. So if you're a working magician, that is a pro little tip that I'm going to give you today, guys, and hopefully you enjoy that. Hopefully with lockdown carrying on at the moment, it's not driving you all up the wall. So, hopefully you're staying safe, you're practicing the magic, you're keeping yourself sane. If you want to communicate, guys, then please, drop us a message. I'm always happy to answer. Stay tuned for the next videos, because I've got some interesting ones and I've got some very cheeky ones that I'm going to try and test on you guys. So if you haven't subscribed and hit the bell icon for notifications, then please do so. My name's Mark, if you didn't already know. I've just dropped the card and I'll catch you later.